Ladies and gentlemen, and dogs, I couldn't be happier than having the honour to toast two of my favourite people in the world, John and Dan, here on their wedding day. John, you've always been a fantastic friend for me, and I'm always forever grateful for everything you did to me, helped us as my best man, so thank you. But, you know, if you think back about the first time I met John, it's really quite remarkable that we became friends at all. It was 9 years ago, spring of 2005, when John, who I'd never met before in my life, didn't know from Adam, brash scouser, full of confidence, marched into my office at Leeds University Union and told me in no uncertain terms that he wanted my job and he was going to have it. Apparently the stuff that great friendships are made of, you might think. And for those of you not familiar with the slightly strange world of students' unions, the job in question was one which you had to be elected to. And I'd been elected to it the year before with a fairly healthy majority, and I could have perfectly well stood for the role again myself. But this didn't occur to John, and during our meeting he never once asked me if I was considering running again myself. And instead he asked me to divulge every single aspect of the job and everything he needed to do to get himself elected. But of course the fact is, John was more than happy to run against me, and to be fair, good-looking, gay guy, darling of the musical society, he would have wiped the floor with me. So I did run again, but wisely I chose to run for a different position, and hanging on the tailcoat of John's electoral machine, miraculously we both won, along with Cassie and Aaron, who are here, and Sharina in Sydney. And we had a great year, and John grandly called us Team Chad that year. I honestly never really knew what that meant, but it seemed to work well. But so the rest is history. But first impressions do matter, because on the back of that first impression, I didn't vote for John. This was actually meant to be Ben Milway's wedding. Here we are. First impression of Dan was actually also pretty memorable, and again it was really all John's fault. Cast your minds back to the spring of 2008, and John and Dan had started dating. John had taken Dan out and had a few drinks. Next morning, John gets up early, goes for his Sunday morning run. Dan stays in bed to sleep off a little bit of a hangover. And little does Dan know that John has invited lots of friends round for Sunday lunch. There we are. A couple of hours later, Dan emerges a little bit green around the edges, looking a little worse for wear, a little bit quiet, emerged into a room full of John's friends, all eagerly, desperately keen to meet him. I'm kind of amazed you ever forgave John for that, actually. So against all the odds, I'm really proud that I can call both John and Dan such good friends. And I've learnt a lot from you, John. I've learnt an appreciation of the X Factor, in particular Leona Lewis. I've learned that under no circumstances should I ever play cards with you. I think everyone who went on our little holiday to Spain last year is still recovering from John's meltdown. My 4-year-old nephew's better behaved for really this evening. But I also learned that John can make a barbecue from a few embers and a coat hanger, and I think that's already a recurring theme, so that's good. I learned how to tie a bow tie, and I think I'm not the only one in the room who learned that this week. Although really Lucy learned, so let's be fair. I learned what it takes to have a gay stag do in Berlin with 8 straight stags. A bit of an interesting the magic formula: lots of food, lots of beer, plenty of transvestites, and all-night karaoke. Everyone was happy, and I've got a little reminder for you. But I've also learnt a lot about strength from John, and when I think about what life has thrown you both over the last few years, and the strength that you found in each other to build your lives, your careers, and your wonderful home together, it's an inspiration to me. I can't think of another couple who so genuinely complement and support each other, and it's only right that we should be able to celebrate your lasting commitment to each other here as a wedding today. So in proving that first impressions don't count, can everyone, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding, show up your glasses.